All signs point to this. A new report linking a star defensive back to the Rams, as well as a key offensive lineman that has to step up for that unit to stay together throughout this 2025 season. All that and more on this episode of the Rams Digest. Welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh, and before we get any further, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you do not miss any daily new Rams Digest videos. And before we get into today's video, I just want to shout out my co-host, Josh. He powered through yesterday. He's been sick for the last few days, so big shout out to him for powering through to make a very entertaining video for you all to enjoy. And before we get on with it, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now and hit that bell so that Josh can feel better, as well as liking the video. I know for sure that this really helps him feel better so that he can get back to making even more great content for you all to enjoy. And now to our main story of the video today. A new report coming out linking a star defensive back to the Rams sooner rather than later. And this is brought to us by Rams Wire as well as Jeremy Fowler. We're going to get into that right now. Now that the calendar has slipped to June, the Miami Dolphins are much more likely to trade Jalen Ramsey, a name we've heard linked to the Rams for a while now at some point soon. A post-June 1st trade, which is today, the day that I'm recording this and this will be posted, is feasible financially for the Dolphins, whereas trading him the past few months would have cost them much more on the salary cap in 2025. Again, Jalen Ramsey is a name that has been linked to the Rams for a little bit now, really since April, but we really haven't covered him much on this channel because there hasn't really been any new reports about it. It's just been all theoretical talks, whereas this is a more surefire report that a trade has a possibility to happen. Again, nothing for sure just yet with any team, but Jalen Ramsey himself had some more to say on this as well. And ESPN's Jeremy Fowler shared an update on Ramsey's situation during an appearance on SportsCenter today, and he reiterated that the Los Angeles Rams are a viable landing spot. And according to Fowler, Ramsey has the Rams on his radar as a potential option, though there is no movement yet. And this is very important to note because when a star player is traded, sometimes they can voice where they want to go, and we'll see if the organization does value that. And with Ramsey, he does have his eyes set on a possible reunion with the Rams. And this is key for the Rams because they have a lot of inexperience in that cornerback room. It's a room that's not the best right now, probably where they need the most upgrade besides linebacker right now on this roster. And doesn't look like the Rams are going after any linebackers. So this is definitely the play to go for the Rams to upgrade the quarterback room and really get a star right now during his last years of his prime. And comment down below right now, do you agree with the Rams going after Jalen Ramsey? Let me know. I do agree, as long as the price is right, as we're getting into some more on that right now. We actually have a quote from Jeremy Fowler himself to read out. The LA Rams, Ramsey's old team, is on his radar as a potential option. Nothing moving there as of yet, and he should have a new team this fall. The expectation is that Ramsey will be traded in the coming days and weeks, Fowler said, regardless of team. They can save about $10 million on their salary cap if they do so. That is not the issue. The issue for other teams is he's got a $24 million guaranteed contract. That is the major issue here, and teams have been a little spooked by that. And with good reason, because Ramsey is 30 years old, it is important to note that Ramsey will be 31 by the end of the year. I have some notes on him right here. A 7-time Pro Bowler as recently as 2023. 3-time All-Pro. He's 6'1", 208. Obviously won a chip with the Rams. 30 years old right now. He will be 31 heading into this upcoming season, so his prime years are starting to dwindle, especially at a speed position like corner, where you do need speed under you to maintain a long career and you need to keep up with younger receivers. It will be very important that Ramsey does keep his training, his conditioning up, and he's someone who's had leg injuries more recently as well, so we'll see how that piles up. And his total contract, real quick, is 3 years at $72.3 million according to Sporadic, a total of around $16 million on the cap sheet this year. We'll see what that does if he gets traded to the Rams. I have also seen reports that the Commanders, as they should be, are looking into upgrading that secondary as well, so we'll see if one of those two teams end up trading for Ramsey. And again, in Sean McVay's latest update on the matter, sorry, wrong image there. And as for the timeline when the Rams could move the All-Pro cornerback, Fowler says they're expected to trade him in the coming days or weeks, as we just went over. And now with McVay's latest update on the matter, he said that the Rams and Dolphins haven't had any meaningful, tangible dialogue lately, seemingly putting a deal on the back burner right now for LA, but that can change pretty quickly. As you know, McVay adding the Rams certainly haven't closed the door, and nor shouldn't they. They definitely should not close the door on this deal just yet, mainly because upgrading a corner is important, especially if they go against a team with a top receiver in the Super Bowl. We never know how these teams will look, especially in the playoffs as well. In the NFC, you got the Lions, you got the Commanders, you still have the Niners. I still am not counting them out just yet. And again, the Cowboys, if they do make a wild card, do have CeeDee Lamb there as well. You know, pretty much every team in the NFC North has an elite receiver on their roster. NFC East as well with the Eagles with Brown and Devonta Smith. So it's going to be extremely important for the Rams to upgrade at corner. Again, I do fully agree with this deal. And we also have some words from Sean McVay on this issue. And look at him right there, really thinking about it with the pen in hand, the pad in the other, as he's really pondering this trade in this image. There are a lot of layers with something of that magnitude when you're talking about the caliber of the player, the compensation they're looking for in return. What does that look like in terms of how they want to handle? What's he actually do? McVay said, obviously we love Jalen, we know Jalen intimately. There would be some things that, we would need to be able to do, and that's if that's a direction that we went. And again, McVay right here is not fully closing the door on a deal, again, as the Rams shouldn't. But the Rams don't need to trade for Ramsey. Again, there's Gilmore, who we talked about earlier, that there's been some reports that Gilmore's been considering the Rams lately as well. And Gilmore is a cheaper option. He is a few years older, not the level Ramsey would be for this upcoming season. But again, the Rams don't need someone to be a defensive player of the year caliber player back there. They just need to make some more reinforcements. And again, for the price for Ramsey, around a mid-round pick, a third, a fifth, probably a third and a fifth should be enough with that contract, with his age. I don't believe he's worth a first-round pick anymore, as he was closer to a first-round pick when the Rams traded him to the Dolphins, not currently anymore. Third and a fifth should get it done. And I want you to comment down below right now, what should the Rams give up for Ramsey if they should make the trade? I believe a third and a fifth, as the Rams do not have a fourth-round pick, and a fourth-round pick may be something that the Dolphins are looking for in the 2026 draft. And the Rams don't need to look too far into the future to give up picks for Ramsey, is because Ramsey is going to be 31 by the end of the year, as I mentioned. He's coming off of a solid season, though. 2 interceptions, 11 passes defense, a sack, 60 total tackles. So nothing that's really showing that he's going to just not be anything for this upcoming season, but certainly not the player that he once was, especially with the Jaguars, with the Rams in 2023, with the Dolphins. He easily could have a nice bounce-back season, though, wherever he ends up playing. For sure right there. And it seems that the situation is in a wait-and-see mode for Ramsey and the Dolphins, but a resolution could come in the next several days or weeks, as Fowler mentioned. And especially now that we are post-June 1st, I would not be surprised at all if we do see a Ramsey trade, regardless of team, within the coming days here. And remember to comment down below what your thoughts are on this trade. And now we have a secondary story to talk about here. A key offensive lineman from Sporting News talking about how it is super important that he steps up this year after a down year last year in order to help keep this unit together. And we're going to get into that right now. And sorry about that. That player is Steve Avila. And the Los Angeles Rams were on the cusp of an NFC Championship appearance last season, but came up just a few plays shy of defeating the Eagles. They spent the offseason getting better offensively, specifically signing future Hall of Fame wide receiver Davante Adams. However, the Rams' offensive line does face some questions. PFF labeled Steve Avila as the biggest X factor for the Rams, as they'll need him to have a bounce-back year following an injury-filled 2024 that hurt his production. And this is definitely right. 2023, he had a very solid rookie season, playing all types of positions on the line from center to his natural position at guard. 2024, he played center, which may have played a role in his decreased production, his decreased blocking grades, but again, going back to his natural position of guard, I do believe will help him out a ton with the signing of Coleman Shelton, which this does get into right here. And after posting a solid 65 PFF pass block grade in 2023, left guard Steve Avila saw his 2024 season marred by an early injury, PFF writes. He also lost valuable preseason reps at guard while going through a temporary trial at center, and the Rams will need Avila to improve greatly on his just 50.6 PFF pass blocking grade from last season in order to protect their aging quarterback Matthew Stafford. And this is certainly true. Because Steve Avila, natural position at guard, he was drafted as a guard out of TCU. He did play a little bit of center at TCU, but mainly a guard. And going back to that natural position with the signing of Coleman Shelton, like I just mentioned, should help him immensely, should help him stay healthy as well, because when you're learning a new position, it's different footwork, it's different technique with your hands on different positions of the offensive line. So with Avila going back to guard, it's a position he knows very well. He played well there in 2023. Similar offensive system with McVay, and Stafford still at the helm. New receiver in Adams, but I don't expect too much to change. There probably will be some Devontae-specific plays, but besides that, the blocking schemes should be pretty similar. And for Avila, that 50.6 it's not good. We're not going to sugarcoat things over here. It's not a good season, and obviously he did have some injury concerns with that season, but I believe Avila is going to bounce back. Again, the signing of Coleman Shelton should really, really help this offensive line, because he was the center when the Rams won the Super Bowl, and we won't need to see as much Bo Limmer. As you know, I'm not a big Bo Limmer guy. We'll get into the depth of this offensive line a little bit later as well. And for Steve Avila, health is going to be the key, and getting those reps in training camp, like this article mentions, at guard are going to be so important for this upcoming season. And the pass protection as a whole is a big question mark for the Rams should they want to repeat as NFC West champions and make a run at their second Super Bowl of the Matthew Stafford era, most likely locking him into the Hall of Fame. I already believe he is a Hall of Famer, but a second ring, I think everybody should believe that. They will need to keep the veteran quarterback upright. Again, they only gave up 31 sacks, which was sixth fewest in the NFL, as I talked about in a recent video. But he did take a lot of quarterback hits after throwing the ball because he was hurried. Again, some of that was due to injury. And Steve Avila being a big part of that, not being healthy. So he will need to be healthy. Playing his natural position again will be so, so important. And comment down below what you think Steve Avila will be this upcoming season and how he will greatly help this Rams offensive line. And now just to end it off here, we have to look at the depth chart, especially at the guards. You got Steve Avila there, and you got Justin Dedrich there. You got Wyatt Bowles, an undrafted free agent. Again, some color coordination to worry about on this guard from Our Lands scouting website. Gold means that they are a free agent or a trade acquisition. Both of these gold highlighted players being a trade acquisition. The dark blue means they're already on the roster, meaning they were already there last year, as most of these players are. Purple would be a draft pick. We don't have any purple players here. And the aqua means that they're an undrafted free agent from 2025, which we have a lot on the fringes there for the offensive line. We'll see who ends up getting on. We'll see if, again, Quisenberry, like I talked about in my last video, does get on the signing of Shelton. But for the left guard position, outside of Steve Avila, Justin Dedrich is entering his second season coming out of USC. He was a 6th-round pick. Not really much experience there. Again, a right guard, Kevin Dotson, the trade from Pittsburgh a couple years ago. He's been good. Again, KT Leviston entering his 3rd season as a Ram. And he's been pretty good in backup roles. Again, the left and right guard positions can kind of flip-flop depending on who's going to play there, kind of just like tackles. But again, the third stringers, not really going to talk about too much. I hope these undrafted rookies can make the roster, or if not, have successful NFL careers. So the depth at guard, you don't really have great depth. Again, the young guys, they've been good, especially Leviston at the right guard position. Dedrich was more of an up-and-down practice squad guy, so not too much tape on him yet. So it'll be very important for Steve Avila to stay healthy and have a much better season than he did in 2024. And that's all for this episode of Rams Digest. Remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell so you do not miss any daily new Rams Digest videos. And like this video right now so that my co-host Josh can heal. And I hope you enjoyed watching another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. I'll see you soon for another episode, and I hope you have a great rest of your day and start to your week.